Okay. So you might have a different view over what you saw on the game. You might look at it and say that maybe it did not really give what you were expecting, but I felt like we saw a bit of maturity in terms of how Arsenal handled the game, as well as maturity over how, and as well as growth, not actually maturity, in terms of how Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United actually performed in this game. Because leading up into this game, we were all expecting a massacre. So hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host Sam, and we are back again with another one. If you haven't watched yet my 1 hour long review of all the games that were played this season, concentrating more into the relegation as well as the title race, I advise that you go check it out. But do me a favor, click the like button, subscribe to the Connect, as we is the best way you can support us here, people. So I'm here to talk about Arsenal, the way the game went on. Arsenal versus Manchester United, which finished United nil, Arsenal won at the Theatre of Dreams, which I think in the end of the game ended up as the Theatre of Floods. A lot of things are happening at the Old Trafford, and it's weird that I have to start to talk about construction. I think during the preseason, Old Trafford has to go some serious maintenance. If Ineos has any job on their hands, this has to be the beginning. Somehow I'm still surprised that the Glazers, the family of who have been running this club for such a long time, still allow a ground to come to a point of actually falling down into derail the way like this ground is doing. This is a ground that we have seen history being made. At least try to nurture and honor that ground. This is one of the biggest ground in Europe. It's weird that they're just letting it go like that. I'm never gonna make fun of this because this actually impacts football as we know it. They need to do something. Luton Town Ground, it's as small as it is, but I don't think it does like what Old Trafford is doing. Inside the ground, where the cafeterias everywhere, water is all over. Is the ground coming to an end? Are we they literally destroying the ground in our very eyes as the season comes to an end to mark a new era? I don't know. That's another story. Let's get into the game. So today, this game was a game which showed so much in terms of pride, so much in terms of needingness, in terms of how much the other team needed it the most, in terms of how also showed that some glimpse of what can grow, what can be, and what should be in terms of how it was approached. Now I'm going to try to make all the things that I've just saying in just a last minute to make it all make sense. We saw in terms of growth, in terms of how Arsenal approached the game. They approached it in a manner of humble, knowing that they're coming a ground which holds so much weight in terms of history, a ground which is easily the easiest ground you could lose if you take the game another way. They played in terms of, in a way of respecting the ground. That's the only thing I can say. They played in a way of respecting the ground. That's why I'm saying that it had a bit of honor in it, as well as I think I saw a bit of pride in terms of how Manchester United also played, fighting for the badge. That's the thing that people have been screaming over the weeks, over what they've been asking for. But if I'm to mention in terms of individuals, players like Dalot, players like so many players, Wan-Bissaka, maybe a bit of Amrabat, showed how much they put for the badge, how much they were fighting for the badge to the very end. Even Onana at some point, because I felt like he kept this team in the game so many times with some amazing shots. There was a point where Saka was coming into it, and I saw players pushing him. Sophia Amrabat, I think he was with the Dalot, fighting to the level I've never seen, and it's amazing that we are able to see these things. That as much as we might make fun of United, saying that they've gone down, they've fallen, they still are trying to fight. So I'm saying that there was a bit of pride in that. It might not do much, but there was a bit of pride. But nothing will change the fact that this is the 14th game that United have lost this season. The most since I have no idea when. But since Alex Ferguson took this team, even when he left, they've never lost 14 games in a season. They did this season. So there's a lot of things that needs to change with this Manchester United team. They need to find at least direction over how they're playing the games, how they're approaching the game, and how they can get something. Because to be honest, Arsenal did not really turn up today. Like I'm saying, there was a bit of honoring and giving so much respect to the ground that I felt maybe it might have impacted Arsenal. But also there was so much pressure that were coming in terms of also what City had done the other day. You know, it takes so much out of a team. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about and say that the game could have gone that way, but it did not go. And I felt like Arsenal had to dig deep. I think William Saliba got the man of the match. And if you go watch the game, I felt like today he was challenged. He had to fight some duels, winning some tackles to keep this game at level. I felt like the keeper of Arsenal was not tested enough. But that's what I've always been feeling for the past years now, that this goalkeeper is not tested enough, because they're just so solid at the back that they stop any attack from actually having any impact from them. And it's been happening for such a long time, and you can see, it's very clear, you can see that it's not easy to break down this Arsenal team. That defensive, especially with the way Partey is playing, Rice, it's difficult to break this team down. It looks like it is a masterclass in terms of one of the most strongest and defensive team we've seen in the league. They played so well. They got the goal, and this is why we always talk about Trossard being one the best goal scorer that Arsenal has in their squad. Whenever it's not as easy as it was today. As much as they had to dig deep to get something. He gets one chance, he puts it on target, it's a goal, and the game is already moving on. He knew that after scoring that goal, you could see even with a celebration that there was relief in the hands, in the eyes of so many people, even the manager of Arsenal. They knew that the game was done by the first goal, because it was not an easy game, like I'm saying. They had to fight to the very end. So much happened in this game that I'm telling you, it was exciting. It's really weird that we have to be analyzing one game today, but you know, that's what we have to do. But one thing that they've managed to make, which I think is more exciting for so many people, is to push this league title to be decided in the final week of the Premier League. They've managed to cross that bridge. They've managed to do so much, because if they lost this game, they were going to be called board jobs for the second season in a row. But the fact that they won this game, they've pushed it to the last one. Whether they win it or lose it, that's another story for another day. It means they fought to the very end. That's what it all means. It means to the very end, Arsenal was still there and they fought to until they see it there. And it's exciting to talk about, because here we are talking about what we thought of the game, how it was demanding, and how they stood up in the game because of the performance, because of what we saw from this team, because of what we believe this team could be, as it shows that they are growing and they are maturing. And I'm telling you, they will do so much in the season. They've been perfect, this team. I've said it in the live stream. If you go check it out, I talked about there's never been a team in 2024 which has been near perfect in the Premier League like Arsenal. They played so many games and they've only lost 2 or 3 of all the games that were played in the second half of the season in 2024. That is huge. That is huge. And I don't know what's going to happen against Tottenham Hotspurs. We'll talk about when we come to that point. But if I'm an Arsenal fan, if I'm an Arsenal player, I have to be proud of myself. I have to be proud of almost going there, fighting to the very end. This is a performance one should be proud of, because I think they do deserve it. They fought to the very end. They gave that bitter end, and they did it. That's all I can say. They did it. I don't know. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are over the game. What your thoughts are in the comment section. What did you think of the performance we saw today? And can United at least take some glimpse from the way they played today and try to build it to at least create something special going forward? Because I do believe the way they played today, they can create something amazing. They can create something amazing. Maybe I'm just being over. It's just being covered because Arsenal performed so well, or maybe I'm just not looking at the other side of the game. But with what I saw, I felt like they did step up in the game, and they did what they needed to do. They knew what they needed to do. They lost the game, but they fought for the badge. I have to ask something before it comes to before this video comes to an end. Why does every single time Anthony always plays at left back? That doesn't make sense. It has happened so many times now. And today he gave the same reaction he gave against Liverpool when he was pushed at that same level, same position. This is a striker. Playing him at left back does not really help. But anyway, I think we can all be excited. Arsenal piled the pressure. They can keep going forward. They can do so much. But also, I can tell you, they fought the good fight. They've come to the elite, the big dogs, like what Grizz always likes to say. They've really reached the big dogs level where you lose it like real men in the final game, in the final day, where you fight and you have won your battle, but you still lose the war. They've come in, but the big dogs will always be big dogs, which are Man City at this moment. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think of Arsenal versus Arsenal versus Manchester United versus Arsenal? Who was your man of the match, and how do you see United developing after this, as well as how do you see Arsenal improving after this? So much to cover and to talk about. Thank you very much for watching. I've been your host, Sam. I will see you tomorrow when Liverpool plays against Aston Villa at Aston Villa ground. It's going to be exciting, as well as Tottenham Hotspurs on Tuesday. It's an exciting football week. I'm out, and we'll see you on another one. Click the like button, subscribe to connect. I'm out. Peace. Subscribe.